He's perfect on paper, but he's lying to my face. Does he think that I'm the kind of girl who needs to be saved? And there is one more boy, he's from my past. We fell in love, but it didn't last. 'Cause the second I figure it out, he pushes me away. And I won't fight for love if you won't meet me halfway. And I say that I'm true, but this song's still for you. All I want is love that lasts. Is all I want, too much to ask? Is it something wrong with me? All I want is a good guy, and my expectations far too high. Try my best, but what can I say? All I have is myself at the end of the day. But shouldn't that be enough for me?
I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. 'Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop, stop, stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling, yeah. So keep dancing. Oh.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lassie Jean Iligan from Group 4, 3rd Presenter. Today, we are going to discuss the meaning of the capitalization or capital. The term capital refers to the total investment of the company in terms of money and assets. It is also called when the company is going to invest large amount of the finance into the business. It is called capital. Capital is the initial or integral part of the new and existing business concern. The capital requirements of the business concern may be classified into two categories: fixed capital and working capital. Fixed capital is the capital which is needed for a meeting of the permanent or long-term purpose of the business concern. Working capital consists of the various compositions of current assets such as inventories, receivable, debtors, cash, and bank balance.
Good day everyone, I am Jenny Louie Bajang, and for today, I am going to discuss the character of fixed capital. So first, fixed capital is used to acquire the fixed assets of the business concern. Fixed capital is the sum of money saved by a business concern over a period of time. The fixed capital consists of the value of assets that are acquired to expand the long-term profits and productivity of the business concern. Second, fixed capital meets the capital expenditure of the business concern. The fixed capital of a business concern is the amount that has been invested in tangible assets and does not change with the turnover of the concern. The fixed capital meets the acquired expenditure for acquisition of plant, machinery, tools, and etc., as well as for construction or development of such objects. Third, fixed capital normally consists of long period. Fixed capital typically means that the assets a business uses to produce its product include long-term financial assets such as buildings and land. Fourth is fixed capital expenditure is of non-recurring nature. It includes organic growth, project completion, programs, and etc. And last is fixed capital can be raised only with the help of long-term sources of finance. Fixed capital is the stock of means of production owned by a business or individual. This capital can be raised only with the help of long-term sources of finance through long-term loans or equity investments. So that's the characters of fixed capital. Thank you for listening.
Good morning everyone, I am Joshua Jules Baloy. So my report is about working capital. So what is working capital? Working capital is the capital which is needed to meet the day-to-day transaction of the business. Normally, working capital consists of various compositions of current assets such as inventories, bills, receivable, debtors, cash and bank balance and prepaid expenses. It is important that the company is able to maintain its working capital because this type of capital is the main source of the company funds of day-to-day business transactions. So what really is the purpose of the working capital? And why does the company really need that? Company needs working capital for the following purposes. First, purchase of raw material. Second, payment of wages to workers. Third, payment of day-to-day expenses. And lastly, maintenance expenditures and others. Working capital should be more liquid than fixed capital because this capital is ultimately intended for day-to-day business transactions. So whether the company needs that, they can utilize it quickly. What are the characteristics of working capital? First, needs that are short-term. Working capital is being utilized in acquiring current assets which will be converted to cash for a short period only. Second, circular movement. Working capital is being converted to cash constantly which will just be turned as a working capital all over again. Permanency. Although it is just a kind of short-term capital, working capital is needed by a business forever and always. Liquidity. It is very liquid if it is converted as a cash anytime without losing anything. And lastly, less risky. Investments in current assets such as working capital comes with less risk for it just a short term. There are reasons why working capital increases. We should also know the reasons why working capital increases so that we can make better decisions if the company is experiencing the decline of its working capital. First reason is profitable business operations. If the business operates efficiently and it generates profit efficiently, then the company is able to recognize increasing working capital. You all know that the profit is the main source of finance for the business. That's why the company will be having an increase in working capital if the business operations perform efficiently. Sale of long-term assets. If the company sold its long-term assets like machines, buildings, and others, there is recognition for the increasing in working capital. Long-term borrowings. Another reason for the increase of company's working capital is the long-term borrowings. So if the firms uses long-term sources of finance such as long-term debts, bonds, debentures, and others, there is also potential increase in working capital. And last reason will be investment by owners. If the owners of the company make an additional investment, the working capital will subsequently increase. Now let us see the different reasons for the decrease of working capital. Here are the reasons why working capital decreases. First, profitable business operation. Second, purchasing of long-term assets. Third, repaying long-term debt. And lastly, distributing cash to owners. Fund outflows of the company most commonly are the reason of the decreasing of working capital. And that's all about my report. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ruby Gillis, and for today I'm going to talk about capitalization and its meaning. So let's talk about first what is capitalization. So we all know that capitalization is one of the most important parts of financial decision. which is related to the total amount employed in the business concern. So understanding the concept of capitalization will lead you to solve many problems in the field of financial management. So because there is a confusion among the capital, capitalization, and capital structure, which will be reported in the next reporter. So let's talk about the meaning of capitalization. So capitalization refers to the determining of the quantum that a firm needs to run its business. Capitalization is only the par value of share capital and the debenture, and it does not include reserve and a surplus.
Good morning, everyone. I am Mavjor Deplar. So today we are going to talk about the definitions of capitalization. Capitalization can be defined by the various financial management experts. Some of the three definitions are mentioned below, such as according to Gottman and Dogal, capitalization is the sum of the par value of stock and bonds outstanding. Capitalization is the balance sheet value of stock and bonds outstanding, according to Bonneville and Dewey. Lastly, according to Arthur S. Dewey, capitalization is the sum total of the par value of all the shares. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lara Megaliendo, and my topic is types of capitalization. Capitalization may be classified into the following three important types based on its nature. It is overcapitalization, undercapitalization, and water capitalization. Overcapitalization. The term overcapitalization refers to a situation wherein the value of the company's capital is worth more than its total assets. But simply, there is more debt and equity compared to the value of its assets. According to Bonneville, Dewey, and Kelly, overcapitalization means when a business is unable to earn fair rate on its outstanding securities. For example, a company is earning a sum of 50,000 and the rate of return expected is 10%. This company will be said to be properly capitalized. Suppose the capital investment of the company is 60,000, it will be overcapitalization to the extent of 100,000. The new rate of earning would be 50,000 divided by 60,000 times 100 is equal to 8.33%. When a company has overcapitalization, the rate of earnings will be reduced from 10% to 8.33%. Next is undercapitalization. Undercapitalization is a situation in which a business has insufficient funding or capital to support its operations. Undercapitalization occurs when a company lacks sufficient capital to carry out routine business operations. Undercapitalization may also result in the company's inability to pay its creditors. Like for example, company's earning profit is $50,000, capital worth is $10,000, but actual net capital worth required $20,000. Therefore, company is undercapitalized. So water capitalization is if the stock or capital of the company is not mentioned by assets of equivalent value, it is called watered stock. In simple words, watered capital means that the realizable value of assets of the company is less than its book value.
Hello everyone, I am Ria Argantalao, and today I'm going to discuss to you the causes of overcapitalization. A company may become overcapitalized if it buys assets that are priced too high or acquire assets that fit into its operations. Other reasons include poor corporate management, higher than expected startup costs, which often appear as assets on the balance sheet, and a change in the business environment. Overcapitalization arises when the existing capital of a firm is not effectively utilized, with the result that there is fall in the earning capacity of the company. Thus, the main sign of overcapitalization is fall in the rate of dividend and market value of shares of the company in a long run. Overcapitalization arises due to the following important causes. There are 6 causes of overcapitalization. First, overissue of capital by the company. Overcapitalization occurs when a company has more debt than its assets are worth. A company that is capitalized may have to pay high interest and dividend payments that will eat up its profits, which isn't suitable over the whole. Overcapitalization happens when a company debt and equity values are higher than those of its total assets. This means that this market value is less than its capitalized value. Companies that are overcapitalized may have trouble getting more financing or may be subject to higher interest rates. Second, borrowing large amount of capital at a higher rate of interest. Borrowed capital consists of money that is borrowed and used to make an investment. It differs from equity capital, which is owned by the company and shareholders. Borrowed capitals is also referred to as a loan capital and can be used to grow profits, but it can also result in a loss of the lender's money. Borrowed capital is a money that is borrowed from others, either individuals or banks, to make an investment. Equity capital is owned by the company and shareholders and is the opposite of the borrowed capital. Third, providing inadequate depreciation to the fixed assets. Depreciation is a ratable reduction in the carrying amount of a fixed asset. Depreciation is intended to roughly reflect the actual consumption of the underlying assets, so that the carrying amount of asset has been reduced to its salvage value by the time its useful life is over. If you do not depreciate your capital asset value correctly, you won't seize its real value. Eventually, it will cause financial position inaccuracy in the company. The value of an asset will be over in the books of accounts. Fourth, excessive payment for acquisition of goodwill. If a company assesses that acquired net assets fall below the book value or if the amount of goodwill was overstated, then the company must impair or do a write-down on the value of the asset on the balance sheet. Goodwill arises at the time of acquisition of a business enterprise. The total amount paid by the acquiring company over the net assets of the selling company and its fair market value is known as goodwill. However, if the amount paid is less than the net assets, then it's gain negative goodwill. This is done by calculating the net asset of the subsidiary at acquisition and multiplying this by the percentage owned by the non-controlling interest. Fifth, high rate of taxation. Because high taxes cost business more. They can provide as many products as they used to be able to. Property taxes make it expensive to stock products with lower quantities demanded, and manufacturers can't afford to produce the low-demand products and also pay their taxes. A tax rate is the percentage at which an individual or corporation is taxed. The United States, both the federal government and many of states, uses a progressive tax rate system in which the percentage of tax charge increases as the amount of persons or entities' taxable income increases. A progressive tax rate results in a higher dollar amount collected from taxpayers with greater income. The last one is underestimation of capitalization rate. The capitalization rate is calculated by dividing a property's net operating income by the current market value. This ratio, expressed as a percentage, is an estimation of an investor's potential return on a real estate investment. The capitalization rate, also known as cap rate, is used in the word for commercial real estate to indicate the rate to return that is expected to be generated on a real estate investment property. This measure is computed based on the net income which the property is expected to generate and is calculated by dividing net operating income by property asset value and expressed as a percentage. It is used to estimate the investor's potential return on their investment in the real estate market.
Good day everyone, the topic that I will discuss is effects of overcapitalization. There are effects of overcapitalization on shareholders, on company, and on public. So let us discuss the effects of overcapitalization on shareholders. Overcapitalized companies have following disadvantage to shareholders. Since the profitability decrease, the rates of earnings of shareholders also decrease. The market price of shares goes down because of low profitability. The profitability going down has an effect on the shareholders. There
earnings become uncertain. With the decline in goodwill of the company, share price decline. As a result, shares cannot be marketed in a capital market. Next is effects of overcapitalization on company. Because of low profitability, reputation of company is lower. The company shares cannot be easily marketed. With the decline of earnings of company, goodwill of the company declines, and as a result, is fresh borrowing are difficult to make because of loss of credibility. In order to retain the company's image, the company indulge in practice like manipulation of accounts to show high. Last, effects of overcapitalization on public. Here's some disadvantage. In order to cover up their earnings capacity, the managements indulge in tactics like increase in price or decrease in quality. Next is return on capital employed is low. This gives us impression to the public that their financial resources are not utilized properly. Low earnings of the company affects the credibility of the company as the company is not able to pay its creditors on time. And it also has effects on working condition and payments of wage and salary also lessen.
Remedies for over-capitalization. Over-capitalization can be reduced with the help of effective management and systematic design of the capital structure. The following are the major steps to reduce over-capitalization. First, efficient management and reduce over-capitalization. Second, redemption of preference share capital, which consists of high rate of dividend. Third, reorganization of equity share capital. And fourth, reduction of debt capital.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Divine Ortiz, and my topic to discuss is the watered capitalization. To start with, let us define first what is watered capitalization. If the stock or capital of the company is not mentioned by assets of equivalent value, it is called as watered stock. In simple words, watered capital means that the realizable value of assets of the company is less than its book value. And according to Hoagland's definition, a stock is said to be watered when its true value is less than its book value. When the real value of its assets is less than the paid-up share capital, or when a portion of the capital is not represented by its assets, the company's capital is said to be watered capitalization. Next is the causes of watered capitalization. Generally, watered capital arises at the time of incorporation of a company, but it also arises during the lifetime of the business. The following are the main causes of watered capital. First, acquiring the assets of the company at high price. Second, adopting an effective depreciation policy. And last is the worthless intangible assets are purchased at higher price.